Do you know the meaning behind this Easter egg? Or what about this one? Well, I found 23 of the most secret Easter eggs in the One Piece anime. Dressrosa is an island kingdom that the Straw Hat Pirates visit in the Dressrosa arc. The island is heavily influenced by Spanish culture and history, with many references to the famous novel Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. Take this for instance. The main antagonist of the arc, Don Quixote Flamingo, is named after the protagonist of the novel, who is a delusional nobleman who thinks he's a knight. But wait, there's more. Doflamingo's crew? Oh, they're all named after characters or places from Don Quixote. We got Pika, Tribble, Senor Pink. It's like Oda went, why not name them all after my favorite book? And the island itself, the island features a coliseum, a bullfighting arena, and a flower field that represents La Mancha, the region where Don Quixote lives. So we all know that One Piece is famous for its diverse and downright wacky animal designs, right? But have you ever noticed that some of these creatures look like they're straight out of other popular franchises? Let's take a stroll down memory lane to the land of Wano. Our fearless captain, Luffy, comes across a gang of furry animals that could easily pass for Swinib, those cute pig-like Pokemon. And later on, when Kid uses his magnet powers to make a giant hand, a metal Pokemon called Melton was mixed into the scraps. But Pokemon isn't the only manga that One Piece secretly hides, because Oda was somehow able to hide Naruto without any of us noticing. Back in 2014, when Naruto's last chapter was coming out, Oda decided to pay his respects by sneaking in a huge Easter egg on this manga panel. On the cover of chapter 766, you can see Luffy eating Naruto's favorite food, while across the table, Naruto's eating Luffy's meat. To keep this Easter egg sneaky, Naruto is hidden behind Nami. When Kishimoto heard about this Easter egg, he had to return the favor, so in his final chapter, he had Naruto's son vandalize a mountain, and hidden on the forehead you could see Luffy's Jolly Roger. Now we know Oda is an amazing writer and artist, but Luffy might have him beat. Luffy's got this weird superpower for predicting the future, through his horrendous drawings that is. In episode 229, Luffy, our aspiring Picasso, decides to doodle what he thinks their new shipwright should look like. And guess what? Lo and behold, it's like he had a crystal ball. His sketch uncannily resembles Frankie, the cyborg genius who later becomes part of the crew during the epic Water 7 arc. I bet Luffy was just practicing his psychic art skills. In chapter 69, Luffy whips out his sketch pad again, and this time, he's on a roll. He draws what he thinks a mermaid should look like. Even though what we see looks more like a stickman than anything, a specific scene in the manga blew fans' minds, cause when Luffy visited the home of the mermaids, one of them is identical to the crappy drawing. Luffy should really consider a career as a caricature artist at this point. Everyone knows that Usopp is a liar and a bit of a scaredy cat, but you won't believe that most of the lies he told actually come true. Yes, that's right, it's not only Luffy that possesses the gift of prophecy, Usopp takes it to a whole new level. In the past, Usopp has spun tales about underground battles with dwarves to his childhood friend, Kaya. And honestly, you might think he's just trying to impress her or something. But you know what's funny? Those tall tales of his, they actually come true. Yep, in episode 640, when you'd think it's all just a bunch of lies, he stumbles upon the Tonatata tribe, these tiny folks living under Dressrosa. Usopp foreshadowed his upcoming battles with Cerberus, a dragon, and a giant goldfish, enemies he would ultimately confront and triumph over by the end of the series. Another crazy Easter egg that I put together about Usopp was the fact he actually claimed Luffy's first bounty of 30 million berries as his own, but later on, as Usopp added to the wanted list, his bounty eventually became 30 million. Sanji is a dashing gentleman with a penchant for cooking and a heart full of chivalry. He's the kind of guy who wouldn't hurt a fly, let alone a lady, even if she happens to be his sworn enemy. Now, that's noble, right? But have you ever wondered just how this sense of chivalry plays out in the One Piece video games? Well, in games like Jump Force, things take an hilarious turn. When Sanji squares off against a female character, you'd expect epic showdowns, right? Wrong. Instead of dealing damage, hearts start popping up on the screen. It's like he's throwing kisses instead of punches. So imagine Sanji facing off against some fearsome female boss. You're all ready for an epic battle, but what do? You start complimenting her. Your hair is amazing, your fashion sense is impeccable, but can we please not fight? It's a comical twist that makes Sanji pretty ineffective in those situations. And it's a secret in the games that keeps us laughing. What a simp. But for the next Easter egg I found, let's move on from One Piece and jump into the world of Super Saiyans. So we all love Krillin, right? That lovable martial artist from the Dragon Ball series? Well, guess what? In episode 17 of Dragon Ball Super, Krillin receives a call from his wife, Android 19, and one of the coolest Easter eggs on this list is revealed. Guess what's playing as his ringtone? None other than the original One Piece theme song, We Are by Hiroshi Kidadani. What's even crazier is why they chose Krillin's phone for the Easter egg, because Krillin and Luffy movies share one thing in common, the same voice actor. But let's bring things to the next level and talk about even crazier Easter eggs, and there's nowhere better to start than with the secret name of Lost Ship. If you look at the submarine, you'll notice that there's no name on it. A One Piece fan noticed this a while back and asked Oda what the name of the ship was during a Q&A. Oda answered with the Polar Tang. The name doesn't mean anything special, but congratulations, because 99% of One Piece fans don't know this. One thing that most fans do know is that Chopper can be dangerous, but the Marines definitely don't agree. His bounty has always been hilariously low, starting off at 50 berries, but after the Dressrosa arc, he got a huge increase and it doubled, going all the way up to 100 berries. And even though it's not very much, Chopper's mom is extremely proud. Look at her, wearing a shirt with Chopper's bounty. She's such a supportive mother. You've probably seen people wearing anime clothing, but Oda decided to one-up everyone with a $2,000 lighter. See, in film Z, Sanji has a golden lighter, but turns out that Oda collaborated with the French company DuPont to make the lighter in real life. It originally sold for $2,000, but only 888 of them were ever made. Oda must have really enjoyed working on a luxury item, because soon after, he also created a clothing company inside the One Piece universe. If you've ever seen a chapter cover featuring Luffy and his friends, you probably noticed that they sometimes wear special clothing, but I found out a lot of these special clothes actually have the same logo. That's because Oda introduced a fashion brand called Crimmen, which is the logo you could see on everyone's stuff. Creating your own fashion brand for an anime? That's original as heck, but not as original as the creator of One Piece secretly sneaking himself into the show. In episode 70, the Straw Hat Pirates visit an island called the Little Garden, which happens to be populated by prehistoric animals. Frightened, Nami and Usopp stay behind on the ship. Nami remembers having read something about the little island and starts searching for the book. If you look closely at the shelf, you could see Oda's full name written on a book spine, and I thought that was the only Easter egg. But in the boat restaurant called Baraite, I also found his name on a mirror in the bathroom. Maybe he's one of their most loyal customers. The next Easter egg is related to one of the most beloved characters in One Piece, Portgas D. Ace, the adopted brother of Monkey D. Luffy and the son of Goldie Roger, the Pirate King. Ace has a tattoo on his left arm that spells out ASCE with a cross over the S. Many fans have wondered what this tattoo means and why it has a cross over the S, but I found the answer. Did you know that S is actually a reference to their supposed late brother Sabo, who was thought to have died when they were younger? Speaking of names, did you know that the names of the Straw Hats have different meanings? Take Usopp, for example. The Uso in his name is Japanese for lie, and the second part of his name comes from Aesop, a famous Greek storyteller. Yeah, he has the perfect name, and so does Nami, since her name means wave, which is pretty fitting for a navigator. But out of all the Straw Hats, Zoro's name has the coolest meaning. See, his surname, Rorona, is a Japanese pronunciation of the real-life French pirate Francois Lolonaise, making him the only Straw Hat who's actually named after a real-life pirate. That's epic. And if you thought that only the Straw Hats had secret meanings, you'd be dead wrong, because the name of two other pirates also have secret meanings. See, Whitebeard's full name is Edward Newgate, while Blackbeard's is Marshall D. Teach. Alone, these names are nothing special, but if you take Whitebeard's first name and Blackbeard's last name, you got Edward Teach, which is the real-life Blackbeard's name. I guess that's why Oda decided to make these guys the strongest characters in One Piece, since they're named after the most legendary pirate in real life. Oda was asked about how he draws his female characters and how the design process goes. Well, Oda went ahead and explained that the first thing he does is to draw 3 circles, 1 for the head and 2 for the chest. When asked about this unusual design choice, Oda replied that he's just making little boys' dreams come true. Yeah, you heard that one right. Oda's a man of culture as well. Or is he now? Maybe Oda goes beyond the man of culture and enters the levels of simps. That's because his wife used to be a Nami cosplayer. In simpler words, Oda is each of these 4 options: a man of culture, a simp, a straight-up legend, or a combination of all 3. What do you think best describes Oda? Well, if you can't make up your mind about that, then allow me to present some more twisted details about Oda that might make your choice easier. You see, when it comes to fans and their burning questions during SBS, they don't hold anything back, and I mean anything. For instance, they've asked whether Luffy's you-know-what can stretch like the rest of him. They pondered if Buggy's you-know-what can detach and take flight like his other body parts, and they've even wondered if Diamond Jozu's you-know-what is genuinely made out of diamonds. Oh, and don't get me started on the hot topic of whether Akainu's, Okoji's, or Kizaru's you-know-what is composed of magma, ice, and light. Now here's the twist. Oda, being the Oda that he is, responded with a resounding yes to all of these questions, confirming that all of these wild suspicions are indeed true. The man knows how to keep a mystery alive in the most unexpected ways, doesn't he? But even though Oda solved that mystery, the D family still remains a secret Oda refused to give any answers on. As many people have observed by now, Ace's tattoo could translate into something else. A refers to himself, Ace, The crossed S refers to his not-so-dead brother Sabo. C was meant to reference Luffy, as Ace kept calling him a crybaby. And finally, E was meant to reference Edward Newgate, aka Whitebeard. What if Luffy's tattoo was something similar? When Luffy returned to Marineford, he featured a tattoo on his right arm that had the following symbols: 3D, 2Y. This was meant to send a message to the rest of the Straw Hats about the time they meet again, meaning to meet not in 3 days like they had originally planned, but rather 2 years. But if that was Luffy's intention, why didn't he write the message using the first letters of the Japanese words instead? That's because Oda was maybe trying to foreshadow Iza's kid being a secret D member as well. Luffy's tattoo could be foreshadowing 3 D members: Luffy, Law, and Kid fighting against 2 Yonkos, Big Mom, and Kaido, all the way during the Wano arc. On the subject of the worst generation, Oda made sure to give meaning to the name when Law took it way too far with his Devil Fruit ability. Back in the Sabadoi archipelago, Law, Luffy, and Kid had to fight some Marines. All 3 of them saw this as a competition and went on to destroy the Marines that dared stand in front of them. As we know, Law can use his Devil Fruit power to surgically and very accurately cut body parts from his opponent, but what Law did here really went over the line. If you observe this Marine, he's seen suspiciously staring into his pants after Law's attack. If Law did what I think he did, then dude, you really overdid it there. I just have to talk about this One Piece Easter egg. I'm talking about Panda Man, the joke character who appears literally everywhere. He's seen on almost every island in the One Piece world. Later on Amazon Lily, the island with only women, fans thought they would be safe from Panda Man until Panda Woman showed up in his place. It's literally impossible to escape the panda. And there's actually a reason that you see Panda Man everywhere. It turns out he owes a debt to Tomato Gang that he can't afford to pay, so Tomato Gang hired Unforgivable Mask, Panda Man's lifelong rival, to chase down his target. Because of that, Panda Man is always on the run, and he's never in the same place for too long. And to this day, Panda Man is still on the run for his life and his wallet. One of the more hidden Easter eggs is about this villain called Enel. That's right, this weirdo is actually based on a real person, a guy who's one of the most famous rappers of all time, Eminem. Oda himself has admitted that he's a huge Eminem fan, and Eminem was introduced in 2002 when Eminem was at peak popularity. And Enel was introduced in 2002 when Eminem was at his peak popularity. He really went from rap god to the god of Skypiea. In One Piece, you can't just look at the character names because sometimes the Easter eggs are hidden in the character designs. See, every Marine Admiral's design is based on famous Japanese actors, and when you put them side by side, they all look pretty identical. If One Piece wasn't one of the best animes of all time, they might have a bad lawsuit on their hands. Speaking of secrets, check out this video where we unravel the 10 biggest mysteries in One Piece.